Welcome to the Sales Prospector Show, supported by Lease, a sales rep and a 5,000 company helping our clients grow sales by securing guaranteed appointments, qualified leads, and guaranteed contracts for their services and products across the U.S. I'm your host, Gil Pagan. You can find us on all social media channels and at leaseasalesrep.com. Thank you for listening in. It's going to be a great one today.
Man, I love doing this kind of stuff and talking to really successful people and people who love what they do and share that in their passion. When we chat initially, to have these calls and these podcasts and vlogs and all those kind of wonderful things. Today, I have the privilege of chatting with Michelle Seiler Tucker. She is the She Prophet, that's a cool name, CEO of Seiler Tucker. They are a mergers and acquisition firm. They do stuff a lot differently. That's what I was told when we initially chatted. And the website is seilertucker.com. And Michelle, thank you for being with us. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gil. Thanks for having me.
Wow, I'm excited to chat with you. I just love doing this kind of stuff and getting into the minds of smart, brilliant people and who are doing stuff that they enjoy doing. I want to learn about the business, and we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, what you're doing and share with the audience as well. And tell us a little bit of the backstory. How did you come up with your firm, and you are the namesake, obviously, of the firm. So help us understand how you landed there, and then we'll get into the meat of the conversation today.
Well, how much time do we have? Because that's a long story. But I'll just give you a synopsis.
Sure.
I've always been an entrepreneur. I mean, even as a very young person, I remember always telling my mom, I'm never going to work for anybody because my biggest pet peeve is I don't like to be told what to do. So I've always owned different businesses and different verticals. And I did start a franchise development, franchise consulting, and franchise sales business. And then I had so many buyers that kept asking me for existing businesses. And I kept saying, I don't have existing businesses. I have franchises. And then I'm like, why am I saying no? I need to start listening to what people are asking for and let them have it. So that's really what transitioned me from franchise sales, consulting, development into business sales. And I still do franchising. I don't really do franchise sales, but I do franchise development, franchise consulting.
Wow, that's great. So for the audience, the franchise sales kind of consulting business is one where someone represents multiple franchises, right? Like a Subway as an example.
Yeah, like I would represent a franchisor. I would either be an area developer, and I would have rights to certain territories, region, or I would be a partner with that franchisor. You know, I was never just a franchise sales. I would work with not startups, but businesses that have been in business for several years that have a few locations. And then I would help them with franchise development. And then I would help them get started and put together all the documents they need.
Gotcha. And that kind of segued you into your own business and kind of help you cut your teeth on the market and learning.
I mean, that was my own company, my franchise sales, franchise development, franchise consulting. That was my own company. And I had an equity stake in different franchisors businesses, and I cut my teeth there. But and then I just transitioned into M&A thinking it's going to be similar, and it's really not similar. It's very different.
Right. That's about being an entrepreneur and changing gears and realizing stuff is different, and good for you. So the firm itself, how long has the firm been around?
So I've actually been doing this a little over 20 years. I went through a rebranding in 2015, 2016. The company I never have had a partner in my M&A practice. Never had a partner, probably never will. I'll never say never. But I did have partners, 3 other partners in our M&A franchise company. And you know how it is when you have 4 partners, 3 of us got along and 1 didn't. So we ended up, going through a buyout there. And then I decided, I really want to rebrand. And so I decided to rebrand under Seiler Tucker because it's easy. It's my name. I don't have to worry about trademark infringement or anything else.
I got you. Okay. And I know when we initially chatted, I have or had my own concept of what, the industry that you're operating in, right? That mergers and acquisition, business brokerage kind of circle, right? You're different than the other businesses that kind of operate in your space.
Mhm.
From what I understand, typical business brokers will get listings, right? And they will represent those listings to try to sell them, and they'll get buyers and sellers together and try to make a deal.
Mhm.
And irrespective of doing a whole bunch of other stuff that you really do,
Mhm.
when you represent a company, and that kind of piqued my interest and caught my attention, had me thinking in different ways. So tell us a little about how the Seiler Tucker model is
Sure.
different than the typical business broker model.
Yeah, and then I'll explain how M&A is different from
Yeah,
business
please.
brokering.
Mhm.
Because business broker, most business brokers, and this isn't to say anything negative about business brokers, but they're typically representing pizzerias, coffee shops, ice cream stores, small businesses, I would say under 1 million or even under 500,000. And they typically take a listing. They don't always do valuations. They just list it for whatever the business owner wants, stick up on the wall and see what sticks, And M&A advisors typically handle mid-market. So businesses are 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 million and up.
Mhm.
And so we're in the M&A space. I'm mergers and acquisitions, master intermediary, senior business analyst, and a bunch of other acronyms. And but the big difference of us and business brokers is we're selling large businesses.
Mhm.
The big difference is us and other M&A firms is that we don't just sell them, we fix them. Because I learned a long time ago what Steve Forbes says is true. 80% of businesses on the market will never sell. And when you think about that, you got to really think about that, because that's really a startling statistic, Gil, because if you think about putting your business on the market that you've been working in your business for 30 years, you finally want to sell it, you have less than a 20% chance of ever selling your company.
Mhm.
Those are pretty startling statistics. So I learned a long time ago that if I don't fix businesses, if I don't put them on a build to sell path, if I don't grow them,
Mhm.
then I'm going to starve to death. And I'm not going to be of much value to my clients. So we really specialize in buying, selling, fixing, growing businesses. I partner with business owners, investing my capital, my experience, core competencies, resources, and I fix their businesses, grow their businesses, put them on a build to sell model. We buy businesses and flip them. We merge businesses together. And I've actually owned multiple different businesses. At any given time, I have 5 to 10 different companies that I'm building to sell.
Mhm.
A lot of M&A advisors have never even owned their own company before.
Mhm.
And I think it really, gives us that competitive edge, because I know what it's like to be in business in many different verticals. I know what it's like to make payroll. I know what it's like to think about selling your baby, selling your company. I understand the mindset. And I can be empathetic because I'm in it. I'm in it now. And
Mhm.
so I think that makes a huge difference. Also, because we've been doing this for so long, we pretty much I have a 98% success rate that I close 98% of all offers I write. We have a pretty high closing rate of all businesses we sell, and we get our clients typically 20 to 40% higher selling price. And we're really good at creating bidding wars because we understand buyers, we understand what they're looking for, we understand, their negotiables or non-negotiables, and what they're willing to pay more money for. So all of that really makes us different. Plus, we've authored several books,
Mhm.
spoke on international speaker, several connections. We're very well networked, and it's my company. So, anybody who works on my team knows that all clients, all listings, all engagements are important to us. Rather it's a $60 million deal or a $5 million company.
Mhm.
But I think all of those really set us apart.
Wow. Yeah, and I think that one of the things that I want to at least bring to the surface here is that uh, when you engage with a client, and you help them to get their company ready for sale, there
Mm-hmm.
are other things that you do kind of on a consulting side to help them grow the business, get clients, kind of to, and basically to increase the valuation, and they can cash out with more
Mm-hmm.
money than they anticipated. Can you share a little bit about kind of that part, which I think it really separates you apart from everything else you said, but separates you from like, okay, versus taking the listing and then trying to get people to buy it versus going into the business and trying to do various things to get it, stronger financially, more clients, increase the multiples for the sale, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that is and I'm glad you brought that up because that is probably the biggest thing that sets us apart. I've been doing this for so long, so sometimes it's hard for me to remember all my USPs. But I think the biggest thing that sets us apart is we just don't if a client comes to us, and this happens to us every day, client comes to us and say we want $10 million. Well, the average broker, the average M&A advisor is going to say, okay, and sign it up. They're not going to do their homework. They're not going to do their due diligence. They're not going to do an evaluation. They're going to take that engagement. They're going to stick it up on the websites, and then they're going to learn it's never going to sell. I have a girlfriend of mine who lives in Texas who's been in this industry for as long as me. And she's not as successful as me, obviously, but I went with her to a few clients in Texas. And I'm like, well, that guy just said he wants 12 million. And you said, okay, no problem. And you're going to sign the listing right then and there. And I said, that makes no sense to me. You have to do the evaluation. How do you know you can get 12 million? That makes no sense. And she goes, well, it's not my job to educate them. It's really the buyer's job to educate them. I'll take it for 12 million. And then I'll bring a bunch of buyers, and then the buyers will tell them what the business is worth.
So bring it down in price at the end of the day. Anyway,
That's a pretty terrible approach, don't you think?
Yeah,
we're supposed to be M&A advisors, not order takers.
Right.
So our big approach is we figure out, what do you want to sell your business for? What is your desired exit strategy? What is your priorities? What's the biggest thing to you? What's your seller sanity check? Then we do the evaluation. We want to see how close we are. Because if you say it's worth 10 million, I say it's worth 5 million. Well, obviously we're not going to put it on the market for 10 million. So we really need to get in there and see, okay, what's the issues? And then we take you through what I call building the infrastructure on the 6 Ps. And I take my clients through each one of the 6 Ps. We call this the road to sell. And we take them through the 6 Ps to strengthen the weakest Ps and fix their bottlenecks to get the company to where it needs to be so we can increase that value and get them what they want.
Gotcha. We're going to get into the book in a minute, but the 6 Ps is associated with the book, the Exit Rich book?
Yeah, the 6 Ps is the foundation. It is the infrastructure. Okay. It's like,
yeah.
You build a house. What do you need? You got to dig deep, right?
Right. Foundation.
If you don't dig deep and build that foundation, what happens?
Well, the house will tilt. The house will come crashing down on you.
Exactly. Same thing with your business. And most business owners just go into business and they're like, here's my widget. Here's my target audience. Let's focus on sales and marketing. Let's get clients in. And they never dig deep. They never build that foundation. And then they go out of business.
Yeah. I totally understand that. One of the things that interests me, and I think people listening, is how to identify opportunities in the marketplace. I think we chatted a little bit about that, about opportunities in the marketplace, meaning for a business to be acquired. And it could be a synergistic kind of buy, for the business. Like, let's say we have a sales company, to give you an example, and we're going to buy a marketing agency, right? That'll be synergistic, right? Or buy a totally different business, and looking at those opportunities and where do they come across, somebody's feed and things of that nature. Can you talk a little bit about that? And how to look at things like that, just from a very high level, Yeah.
And that is the whole infrastructure. That is the 6 Ps, so from a high level perspective, there's 5 different types of buyers. Most people don't know that, so when we're evaluating businesses, when we're looking at businesses and what businesses are worth, we're looking at all of those synergies. We're looking at, who are your people? Do you have a management team in place? What is a tenure? Can the business run without you? What is a product? And that's the other people's number 1, products number 2. What's the product look like? Are you in a thriving industry or are you in a dying industry? Do you have congruent revenue streams? So many businesses go out of business, Gil, because they have one revenue stream, have one way they make money. You got to have multiple streams of revenue, and then we look at, I hope I'm answering your question. Am I answering your question?
We're going to get to that in a second. I guess the opportunities, how does a company in business identify an opportunity in the marketplace, and take.
Oh, so I
take-
misunderstood your question.
Yeah,
Okay,
take
so how
notes.
does the company in business
Mhm.
identify an opportunity of another business they should acquire? Is that your question?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
My apologies. Okay,
Okay.
my apologies.
It's okay.
So if they're actively looking, I always tell, and I have lots of existing businesses that have us on their radar and they're always calling us and emailing us. If you're actively looking, then you really need to align yourself with an M&A expert, because it's the M&A advisors that know what companies are selling, or what companies are thinking about selling, or what companies are starting, to begin that process. And so a lot of times we can make those alignments and those acquisitions without even ever putting a business on the market. So the first and foremost thing you should do is align yourself with an advisor, but you want to be crystal clear on what your objectives are, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're looking for, what synergies, because a lot of companies are buying businesses because they're not really buying businesses, they're buying synergies, right? They're buying synergies that's going to help their current business catapult to the next level. They're buying businesses that will help them take advantage of economies of scale.
Sure.
They're buying businesses that will help them with infrastructure.
Mhm.
So to identify those opportunities, you really need to identify what you need, what your goals are, what your objectives are, what you're trying to accomplish, and align yourself with an advisor that can help you identify what businesses are the best fit. Because a lot of those businesses, every now and then you'll get lucky, you'll network, you'll talk to business owners, and you'll start saying, I'm really looking for a business like this. And somebody all of a sudden says, oh, well, I might be interested in selling. But for the most part, these businesses are going to be engaged with M&A advisors because of confidentiality.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you.
Did that answer your question though?
Yeah, more
Okay.
so. Thank you. Yeah, and there's the strategic buy, right? There's an asset buy. You want the revenue, you want the money, that company's throwing off. Let's say that you're buying, for example, you want the revenue to add to your P&L and make your P&L better and all that kind of stuff. And we as an organization look at maybe 2 deals a year, maybe 3. And we talk to people about different things. We just recently looked at a deal. Obviously, it's under confidentiality agreement, but it was somebody in our space, and we decided to pass on that deal. We look at the numbers, and even though it was somebody in our space, we just decided to move on. And that would have been basically somewhat of a like business. And
was there an advisor with that deal, or were you just looking at it independently?
No, I had an advisor. We had an advisor representing us and getting information.
Okay, so you're doing exactly what I just mentioned. You got an
Right.
advisor to help you find businesses that meet your specific criteria.
Well, let me clarify. This advisor was brought in by us because this opportunity came to me directly because we're in the business of the similar business that this company was in.
Okay.
And they came to us as, to absorb them and take over.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I brought in the advisor to look at stuff that I'm not looking at.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
kind of guide me through the process and the conversation.
Understood.
So we have these kind of conversations every couple of times a year with maybe 2 or 3 different businesses that are not in our space, actually. So I appreciate you kind of clarifying that a little. What is your opinion on these websites that people go to, the Biz Buy Sell, the Craigslist, and all these kind of sites that are out there that are putting listings on there for businesses for sale? What are your general, your expertise, given you've been doing it for so long, about those sites and just in general?
Yeah, so we use those sites. No, we don't
Okay.
use Craigslist. Craigslist is if you're trying to sell, assets, or businesses about to go out of business, or sell something really small on Craigslist. But we use websites. We use Biz Buy Sell. We use Axio. We use businessfocus.net. We use those. We've been using them for years. I think they're good for smaller businesses, and maybe smaller businesses up to maybe 10 to 15, $20 million. But anytime you get over that, they're not good. We have businesses are 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 million. That's not the place to market those businesses. So they're good for smaller type businesses. Typically, I would say under 5 million.
Gotcha. Yeah. So those bigger numbers.
And a lot of them are handled by brokers. Some are handled by advisors. And it's a good place for acquirers to go look. and browse to see if there's any businesses that are interested. But if you're really interested in acquiring businesses, you should, like I said, get an advisor to work with you, because a lot of times we have businesses that we never even put on the market. We don't even put them on the listing sites because we already have buyers lined up.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha. And yeah, some of the businesses at that level, the bigger ones, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 million, they're not on those sites.
They're not on those
they're
sites.
working
Yeah.
with M&A guys and M&A people like you, and they're out there looking for the
Yeah.
buyers.
Now, sometimes we'll put large businesses on those sites just because a PEG might be stumbling across something, or a strategic or a competitor.
Sure,
You know, they
sure.
hire interns, and interns go and look at those sites. So
Mhm.
sometimes we'll put larger companies on there knowing that we're not going to find a buyer there. But, you know, just in case somebody stumbles across something.
No, absolutely. What industries right now? I mean, just from a purchase perspective, what industries, in your opinion, do you see opportunities in for an acquisition? Just whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be business to consumer, B2B. Obviously, we're in the B2B space. We don't play with consumers. You know, what opportunity do you see in the market right now? If somebody had some money and said you should be looking at these 3 or 4 verticals right
Oh,
now. Like for example, people say, you know, they're great deals in restaurants, right? Because they
yeah.
hit so hard.
If you want to run a restaurant.
No, I'm not, no, thank you. That is a grind, from what I understand. So help me
Yeah,
know.
I never suggest going to restaurant industry, but I know what you're, so yes.
Yeah.
So the industries that I would say are great industries to go in to right now is anything healthcare related is big.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anything staffing related, because there's a shortage on staffing and good staffing companies, especially industrial staffing.
Mhm.
So I said healthcare staffing,
Mhm.
anything that's e-commerce.
Mhm.
You know, when I say e-commerce platforms, educational platforms, you know, anything like that that's e-commerce related that sells online. SaaS is always a good industry to go into.
Mhm.
Manufacturing is always a great industry. You're going to laugh at me probably when I say this, but trailer parks. Trailer parks.
I couldn't.
I told you were going to laugh at me.
It's a real estate play. So, you
A
know,
great real estate play. It's a
land,
cash
right?
business. They sell like hotcakes. You can never keep them on the shelf. I just met someone who's rolling up a bunch of trailer parks to sell for $1 billion.
Wow.
But they're hard to find. Good trailer parks are hard to find, and they don't stay on the shelf. I mean, as soon as we get them, we sell them. So
Wow.
things that sell really quickly is anything in manufacturing sells really quickly. Manufacturing, healthcare, staffing, e-commerce, SaaS, trailer parks sell really quickly, as funny as that sounds.
Right.
And then what also sells really quickly is because a lot of buyers, there's 5 different types of buyers. A lot of buyers are industry agnostic. So any businesses that have over an EBITDA of $1 million, there are more buyers for good businesses than there are good businesses to buy. So when we get businesses over $1 million in EBITDA, we know we're going to have a bidding war. We know we're going to market without a price. We know we're bringing 5, 10, 15, 100 buyers to that business.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing some of your insights there of what.
And then the other thing too is supplements.
You mean like vitamins and stuff like
healthcare.
that?
Yeah, any type of supplements.
Yeah, for us older folk, for us
Well, not
gray
just
hair.
older folks, but younger folks too. I mean, one of my partners, it was so funny because one of my partners in my M&A franchise business that before we sold out,
Yep.
he they were listing a supplement company and they can never close on the deal because the seller was crazy. So they ended up just acquiring the business themselves. And that happens, you know, that happens. We got crazy sellers. So we just acquired the business. We know how to acquire businesses. We know how to get financing. We know how to do all that stuff. But anyway, it was a supplement business and it was booming at the time. And it was mostly baby boomers, but they've really pivoted and they've really went after that younger market and they're doing amazing. In fact, they're doing so well, they don't even do M&A anymore. Wow. So supplements, you know, you got to think about like, if you're going to get in business, think about anything that's reoccurring. Staffing is reoccurring.
Right.
Staffing companies are hard to find. And I have a whole lot of staffing buyers.
Mm.
Good manufacturing companies are hard to find. I have a whole lot of buyers like that, buy manufacturing.
And
Healthcare, good healthcare businesses are hard to find, and healthcare is always always going to be in demand.
right, no matter
And
what.
like I
Yeah.
said, the mobile home parks are hard to find. But the big thing is anything with reoccurring revenue, anything with subscription model, which are supplements,
Right. And the
skincare,
SaaS
supplements,
model.
SaaS, e-commerce, anything with that reoccurring model, reoccurring revenue.
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
would look
Yeah.
to get into.
No,
Yeah.
that's excellent. Share a little bit about the launch of your book and the Exit Rich book. And I think you had written two others. And did I get that right? This is
I
your third?
have. I've actually written 3 books and a
Okay.
chapter in Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
One book I haven't published yet. I'm gonna publish it after this one, and
Okay.
that's about how to grow wealth through acquisitions.
Okay, excellent. And
So,
the Exit Rich book, you were talking a little, you kind of teased a little bit about the six P's, the
yeah.
6 P's, right? And
And
that's
it's really, yeah, it's really not a tease. It's so funny because everybody's like, "Oh, Michelle, I don't want you to talk about the 6 P's because you're giving away your book." The 6 P's is 6 chapters in a 25 chapter book.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
And
So,
that book is going to come out in next. When is it coming out?
So Exit Rich comes out Tuesday, actually,
Okay,
June 23rd.
that's
So
great.
June 22nd. So Exit Rich is endorsed by Steve Forbes. Steve Forbes says Exit Rich is a gold mine
Mhm.
for entrepreneurs as they leave way too much money on the table when they sell their business.
Right.
And Sharon Lechter is my co-author who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki.
Mhm.
She's a CPA, a financial literacy expert. So she writes the Mentors Corner after every
Mhm.
chapter from her perspective.
Okay.
And then the foreword was written by Kevin Harrington, the original Shark on Shark Tank. So Exit Rich is just not about selling a business skill. And that's what a lot of people think. And that's just a misconception. Even though it's titled Exit Rich, the reason why it's titled Exit Rich is because you will never exit rich unless you build a business on the solid infrastructure, on a solid foundation, on what I call the 6 P's, and build a sellable asset that somebody wants to pay you top dollar for. You will never exit rich. Most business owners are exiting poor. Most business owners are selling for pennies on the dollar, closing their doors, or even worse, filing bankruptcy. When I wrote my very first book, Sell Your Business for More Than It's Worth in 2013, I did the research and learned that 90% of startups would fail in the first 1 to 5 years. When I did research for Exit Rich, I was flabbergasted to learn that the business landscape has flip-flopped. Now only 30% of startups will fail, which is great news for startups.
Mhm.
But those businesses, out of 27.6 million companies, those businesses that have been in business for 10 years or longer, 70% of those businesses will go out of business.
Wow.
70%.
Wow, the numbers are
And so Exit Rich is all about not becoming a statistic, all about saving your business so you can exit rich and not exit poor.
No, that's great. Thanks for kind of explaining it better. And that's a good thing. And they obviously they have the business owners that want to increase their valuations, obviously their multiples, and get more money for the company. This book is going to help with that, help them to kind of put stuff in place. I guess the pillars in place, if I could use that term.
Yeah, it really, like Stephen Covey says, start with the end in mind.
Right.
So Exit Rich is all about planning your exit from the beginning. So it helps walk you through the GPS exit model. It also, so it helps you plan your exit from the beginning. It also helps you with mindset.
Wow.
Because mindset's everything. What they say, 20% is skill, 80% is attitude. So
Right.
mindset is everything. So there's exercises and strategies and techniques to take business owners through different exercises to determine when should you sell, what are your priorities, take you through the seller sanity check. What do you really need? Because a lot of times business owners will come to me and say, Michelle, I need $10 million to sell my business. I'm like, your business isn't worth 10 million. Like, I know, but that's what I need to retire on. And when I do the math and figure it out for them, I'm like, you don't need 10 million. We could sell it for 5 million. We could set you up with this trust over here. We can decrease tax liability. You can walk away with this and you'll be set up for life. That's what we do. We don't just come in and sell your business. We're your life plan. We're your exit plan. We're there to help you with that nest egg and really enjoy the fruits of your labor.
No, that's excellent. The one of the things that acquirers, obviously you got the selling portion where you help the company to get the most money for the actual company by doing various things to help them sell for more. The flip side of that is the buyers want to buy a company, and they need, let's say, the capital to buy the company. You hear and read in various, blog posts and articles, email lists, whatever blast you get that say, buy this, buy businesses for 95% financing, 0 to 0, nothing down. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So help us to clarify.
Yeah.
Is that even possible? Buying a
Well,
business with almost
it
nothing?
is, and it is in some extreme cases. It is
A
not the
disclaimer.
general. It is
Disclaimer
not.
is the extreme cases.
Yeah, exactly. Disclaimer is extreme. And usually you're getting those emails or reading those books or reading stuff from people who have classes that charge you money to go through their program. And I know several of these people that do this.
Right.
And so they're charging you 3,000, 5,000, whatever it is to go through their program to teach you how to buy businesses with no money down, just like buy real estate with no money down. And guess what? Before you ever invest money, talk to all the people who have been through their classes and tell me how many are successful. And, even the ones who actually do it, because a lot of times people will go through a class and never do anything and never implement anything. But the ones that have actually implemented and followed the plan, how many are really successful? Yes, you can buy money sometimes with no money down or little money down if it's a turnaround specialist. If you're turning around a business and you're leveraging the assets to buy that company, and the owner has no other way out. So that's not good for the owner. Now, I've helped business owners before. I've helped buyers before get businesses by leveraging the assets, paying very little down or using the assets to buy the company. I don't like to do that for my sellers because I like to set up win-wins and I want my sellers to win. I don't like and that's an extreme case where sellers diagnosed with cancer or something has happened, or the business is doing terrible and they need to get out, so they go in and they take advantage of the owner. And yes, I can help you buy businesses like that, but I'm going to make sure my seller's winning too.
Yeah, I hear you. I appreciate you sharing that, because some these methods or strategies or what have you are not realistic. I just know that because I've spoken to people and it's just not real. Again, it happens in very rare cases. Some of the way you outlined, the business is really on life support, and you're going to come in basically and turn it around by investing some capital in it and the like, and marketing and sales and all that kind of business. And then, you're going to pay the owner some kind of earn out over the course of, maybe 2 years or something like that.
Yeah. Otherwise, and that owner's probably never going to see that earn out. That's the problem with earnouts. So, I'm not going to let my owner do an earnout. I would do a seller financing with guarantees in place, to make sure that my clients get paid. But there are extreme cases where a owner's about to file bankruptcy, so they keep them out of bankruptcy. I'll talk to buyers, turnaround specialists, and turnaround specialists. They're not really trying to take advantage of the seller. They're just trying to get the asset, as cheap as I can, obviously, to turn that asset around and pay. But whatever I do in cases like that, I want to make sure that the seller does get paid in some way.
No, of course, I got you. And those kind of questions that come to us and from the audience of, are these things real, and how do you buy it if you don't have the cash immediately, and those kind of
I could put on those classes and make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Sure. And I can show you how to really be successful. Or these other programs, people come through it. And it's so funny because Gil, they'll come to me and they'll give me an offer. I'm like, oh, you went through so-and-so's course. And they're like, yeah, we did. Because one of the first things they tell you is don't go to an advisor. Don't go to a broker. Don't go to an advisor. Go try to find a for sale by owner so you can take advantage of them. Because if you get an advisor's not going to let you structure that deal.
Right. No, I got you. And I know that apart from obviously doing the M&A work, you do the consulting work and that kind of stuff for the business, you actually do teaching, or you don't really teach?
No, I do teach. I do
You teach,
teaching.
okay.
You know, I teach every day.
Well, I'm
I have
sorry. I mean, like classes. I mean, like
Well, I
workshops.
do have a 5 day. I do have a 5 day training class.
Okay.
You know, for other M&A advisors other individuals who want to become an M&A advisor and become part of the Seiler Tucker umbrella.
Gotcha. So
I do have a
it's
5
your
day,
feed.
600-page training manual.
It's your feed into your organization, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, I got you. Not a training for outside people, kind of training on M&A and buy businesses. Not for companies. You're doing it to feed your organization, which is okay.
Well, it's not, well, two
Yeah.
things. I mean, we have the book to help business owners. That is training. Plus, we have an online. We're finalizing an online built to sell course, road to sell course
Mhm.
for businesses.
Correct.
And a road to sell mentorship program. As far as training people, are you asking me about do we have courses to train companies or train buyers on how to buy businesses?
Yeah, almost like the real estate buy a house with no money down.
I don't have that yet, but that doesn't mean I can't start one
I was just curious. No, I'm just,
and do it the right way.
right. Show you how it's really done.
Yeah, well, because I'm not, I don't want to have classes just to make, look, here's another thing that separates us that I forgot to tell you, and that's probably the biggest thing
Mhm,
that separates us from everybody else. We don't charge retainer fees. We don't charge retainer fees. We
mhm.
don't charge retainer fees. Why am I repeating that?
Say it
Because
again.
almost everybody in the mergers and acquisitions industry charges retainer fees, $5,000 a month, $60,000, $100,000. Why don't we charge retainer fees? Because we're success driven, we're results driven. If we can't sell your business, why am I charging you? You pay me when I sell your business. Same thing if I do a training class. I don't mind, charging for a training class, but I want to make sure that there's value and you're actually going to be successful.
No,
Not just to make, and a lot of these companies that charge these hefty retainer fees, Gil, they never sell businesses. Their whole business is retainer fees.
well, that's the business.
That is the business. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that.
But yeah, if you want to talk to me about putting together a class, you and I can do it together, Gil.
Well, thank you. I would be honored to even stand next to you if that was the case. But yeah, the reason why I asked is because not everybody does training and teaching. We as an organization just do execution. We don't train, we don't consult, we don't teach. We do none of that business, right? We do the heavy lifting. We close the deal. We get the lead. We get ink to paper. So
kind of like we do when we sell companies.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. So that's why I asked the question because but your business is different, obviously, than mine, and you're in a space where you can teach stuff because that's and that's fine. And we can do it too, sales training, but it's not what we like to do. It's not our, not right now anyway. So that said, want to go through the rapid fire questions about you, and you can answer those as quickly as you can. And I'm going to give you one deep thought question that you're going to have to kind of probably go silent unless you know the answer right away. Many people typically kind of reflect on that one. So
we'll see. I'm not many people, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just
And then
prepping you.
at the end, we can tell everyone where to buy the exit rich, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We'll do a summary. Okay, so that said, do you drink coffee, hot or cold?
Hot.
Hot coffee. Your favorite food?
Actually, let me go back. Both.
You like iced coffee and hot coffee?
Well, yeah, it's funny because I drink hot coffee when I get up in the morning, and right before my house. Look, I'll just show you. I did this great big thermal cup full of ice and coffee.
Oh my God.
So both.
Gotcha. Both. Your favorite food?
I'm in New Orleans, so that's tough.
Ollie.
I would say lobster.
Lobster. Okay. Excellent. Hot dogs. You eat hot dogs?
Yes, without the bun. Without the bun.
Well, without the carbs. Mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup.
All right. Burgers?
Red. See, anything red. Burgers without the bread. It's not because of carbs, it's because of gluten free.
I got you. Thank you for clarifying that for the audience. Some pizza. Let's see what happens with that one.
Pizza, yeah, gluten free pizza.
Gotcha. Okay. Are you an Apple or Android person?
Apple.
Apple. Okay. PC or Mac? You know the answer to that one.
Apple's the largest brand in the world, worth $359 billion. PC.
Yeah, but Android is selling the most phones. So anyway, Apple or
doesn't matter who's worth the most.
Who's selling more? Who's selling more? That's all I care about. Sorry. PC or Mac?
PC.
All right. You got a
lot. I love my iPad though.
Oh. Laptop or desktop?
Um, I can have both, but
You got both.
desktop.
Okay, gotcha. So if you can go anywhere right now and money and time is not an issue, where would you go?
Gosh. Oh, is that the thinking one?
No, that's not the next one.
Because there are so many places. I mean, I would probably tell you Dubai only because I've been wanting to go and I've never been.
Gotcha. Dubai is an interesting country.
I've never
Yeah,
been. No.
really, yeah, for a lot of reasons. And the last question is that if you had a superpower, what would that superpower be? Doesn't have to be business related. It can be personal. Doesn't have, whatever that is to you, what would that superpower be?
My superpower would be the ability to be able to help more entrepreneurs, more business owners save their business from going out of business.
Mm.
And because small business is the backbone of our economy, there's 30.2 million businesses in the United States, and 70% of them are at risk of going out of business. When you lose small business, you lose jobs. When you lose jobs, you lose spending power. Then guess what? You lose more small business. Entrepreneurship is my passion. I live and breathe it, eat it. If my superpower would be to have the platform, to have the stage, to where I could help educate more small business owners what you need to do to stay in business so you can exit rich.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So
and that took no thinking.
Okay. That's good. That's okay. That's what came out of your heart, and that's what it is. So the way to get the book and Exit Rich, and also we want to do a summary here at the end of maybe 4 or 5 points on the organization and the value prop and those kind of things. Go ahead.
Okay, so Exit Rich, like I said, endorsed by Steve Forbes, co-authored by Sharon Lechter, forward by Kevin Harrington. So Exit Rich is not just about selling your business, it's about actually building a sellable asset so you have a business to sell when you're ready. So launch date is Tuesday, Gil, June 22nd. So for anyone who pre-orders the book now, buys the book now for $24.79 at exitrichbook.com, that's exitrichbook.com. We will email you the digital download immediately. We'll ship the hardcover to your doorstep. For no additional money for anyone that lives in the United States. Plus, we will give you a lifetime membership. This is where all the value is, right here too. A lifetime membership into the Exit Rich Book Club, where there's video content, me doing deep dives and different techniques and strategies that I've been teaching to business owners over the last 20 plus years, over thousands of business transactions, plus documents to operate your business, documents to sell your business. So sample policy and procedure manuals, employee handbooks, org charts, sample letter of intents, purchase agreements, due diligence checklists, closing docs, all the documents to operate and sell your business are there for your review and your download. These documents will cost you over $50,000 if you try to go out there and recreate them. I know because I spent the money to create them all. And we're giving you a 30-day free membership into Club CEOs, which is an entrepreneurship mastermind where we do Q&As and hot seats. And we ask, there's really transformational questions that we help business owners pivot so they can build that sustainable, scalable, and sellable business. All for $24.79 at exitrichbook.com. You can't beat that with a stick.
Wow, that's excellent. There's a lot of value there for clearly, coffee money, which is, that's excellent, and the value that you're bringing. So to summarize the conversation today and some of the value props that we discussed about Seiler Tucker, that one, you're an M&A firm that helps company to exit more with a higher multiple. You help those companies to get on sound footing by helping them with sales, marketing, strategies, various things to increase the value of the company so that they can exit with a higher amount and a higher valuation. And you don't charge any retainer fees, which is also different from other people in your space, right? What am I missing as well?
Well, you're not missing a lot. I mean, we really specialize in buying, selling, fixing, growing, and everything that entails.
Yeah.
So, partnering with business owners has been numerous times. I just met with an owner today and I said, I don't think we're going to sell you. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, you're so unique that you're only in Texas. We need to blow you up throughout the United States. And he goes, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I think I want to partner with you and bring in somebody else to where we can blow you up and then we'll sell you. And so we really specialize in really identifying those opportunities, identifying those strengths of businesses, identifying the weaknesses, the synergies, helping them build upon those synergies, and really fixing that business, growing that business so they can maximize value, because it might not always be the right time for someone to sell. And we'll let you know that. We'll tell you the truth. We're not just going to take an engagement because you want to sell your business. We're going to tell you what's best for you.
I love it. Yeah.
That's the big difference.
That's great. Clearly you're an advisor and you're doing what's best for the client on that approach, and definitely appreciate you doing that. Well, that wraps up the show. We want to tell everybody to go to exitrichbook.com. I'm going to put that into the show notes on the video and also on the podcast, and get all that value for the $24.95. You can download the book and you get the book mailed to your house, and you get all these documents that help you do a whole bunch of stuff with your business, buy, sell, agreements, policy and procedures, all that kind of stuff. We're going to get the book because I want to read the book.
And I'll tell you too, I'll throw in an extra goodie.
Yeah.
How about if I throw in an extra goodie?
Go ahead.
So anybody that buys 25 books, you might say 25 bucks. You can give this away to other business owners. You can donate. You can use it inside your organization. But anybody buys 25 books, I'll do a valuation, which is worth about $10,000.
Gotcha.
I'll do a consultation and a 2-hour, 1.5 hour consultation, and a consultation, not evaluation, consultation.
Right, I got you. So
2-hour consultation.
25 books will get you a 2-hour consultation.
Yeah.
What you just said? Okay, great. Excellent. Well,
100 books will get you a valuation. We'll get you a valuation, which is worth about 10 to 15.
There's so much value in the valuation.
There is. And then our main website is SeilerTucker.com. I wanted to throw that out there too.
SeilerTucker.com and ExitRichBook.com for the book that's coming out on Tuesday, June 23rd. June
22nd.
June 22nd. Well, listen, thanks for being on the show. Enjoy chatting with you.
Thank you,
and listen, best of luck. May you have unbelievable numbers of sales that breaks all records for your book. And may the business continue to grow this year bigger and better than you've ever seen before.
Thank you. And then we'll need to hire Lisa sales rep to help us out with all of the growth.
Come on, girl. All right. Good chatting with you.
Thanks, Gil.
You well.